go. The best players, the best teams in Europe, arguably the world, are about to compete. Now would be a great time. Go on Twitter. Go tell your friends this is going on. These are the best Rocket League players in the world. You do not want to miss this. Let's get into it. It's a best of 7 between Flipside Tactics and Northern Gaming for the title of European Regional Champion. And of course, the winner takes home $10,000. Get excited. Let's get into the game. It's Shogun and Lawler standing by with the commentary. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Axel Toss. We are here for what is going to be an incredible final, the European Finals. Northern Gaming versus Flipside. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic, and even better knowing the amount of history these two teams have. You look back in the history of Rocket League, and Flipside has just always been there. And then you get this team that was Weedham girls that came out of nowhere. They were never veterans, and they just started dominating and just really made a competitive edge in these number 1, 2 spots. Weedham girls now picked up. They've got a little bit of a roster change, and like you look at it, it looks like that desk is pretty confident about Flipside, but I've been looking at this season, and Northern Gaming's probably got my vote.
Really? Well, I have the luxury of not having a vote, because that way I can be right no matter what. But this is going to be a heck of a series. Northern Gaming already bouncing back. They already played a ridiculous series earlier on against a Mocket Gaming squad that bounced back and won convincingly against PZ. We haven't seen Flipside really tested yet today, so we don't really know how good they are looking, but from what we have seen so far, they are always solid. So we are going to get ourselves into this game. Our first game of the European Regional Finals between Northern Gaming and Flipside. An early attempt there to try and turn that ball in, as Flipside will try and use that unrelenting pace that they have been known for. There's Greasy. Ball played straight in towards him, but he does get a hold of the save. It's Greasy. Puts that one long. Cooks is going to be in the background because that's going to be a save from Mystic, as they're going to be trying to put 1-2 passes together to try and get that ball out of their half. 2 players being committed to that one by Northern Gaming, but nothing bad coming from that until Marky gets it demolished, and Remco has to react quickly to prevent that goal going in from Cooks.
Prevent that goal indeed, and you see what he does to get it out. A big, clear, long downfield just allows this team to finally breathe a little bit, and that's why everybody thinks Flipside's so scary, is the pressure that goes on, but I have a good feeling that Northern Gaming has a way of handling it.
Oh, Mystic forced to get that one away from Cooks yet again, who was looking for that rebound, and that's going to be a sub-rebound, and that is why we are so scared of that backboard being used, because immediately taken advantage of.
You see Greasy, the way that he places this, pushes it outside. Mystic needs to get that hit. He's sitting on the wall waiting for it, but he places it just a little bit lower so he can't get that touch out and clear to the side. Because of that, it settles perfectly for Flipside. They go up by 1 already.
Early lead now for Flipside. They have got a long series to try and get a hold of as many wins as possible. 4 wins, to be precise, to give them the title of European champions heading into Amsterdam, as Cooks' lovely pass turns that over to Greasy. Cooks is on fire today.
Back at it again. You see him play this. He pops it up to himself, just light enough to make sure it doesn't hit that backwards so he can make an extra attempt at it. He gets up, puts his car in front of the ball, and then pops it backwards and down towards the net to make sure that his player is going to get the best possible situation. And then the follow-up, you know someone's going to be there from Flipside.
So smart from Cooks as well, because usually every time we see those types of pops, it usually means that there's going to be a strike immediately afterwards. No changing up the system, going for an assist instead, completely taking the Northern Gaming defense apart. And here goes Flipside trying to make it free. That ball's going to be put down, and there is the 3rd goal.
Doesn't know what to do because Cookster's looking to do this exact same thing. Greasy plays it off that backboard. Cookster's going to go up, and he wants to put a shot in himself. He doesn't get that shot, you know he's going to place it down for a pass, and because of that, it forces this player to make a risky touch, and he plays it down, and it leads to a goal.
Flipside dominating this first game thus far. Only 90 seconds gone, and they look pretty comfortable at this point. Northern Gaming not showing that strong defense that we saw earlier on, as they look to try and bring themselves back into this. Ball played over to mid. Oh, Maestro tries to clear that pass, but Greasy has got that one covered. Here's Cooks, puts that one over to Marky, but Marky was unable to turn that one in. Here comes Mystic. Pressure on from Northern Gaming. Their first real attempt to do so, and Marky, nice bump onto Remco. Completely ruined any sort of momentum that could have been had by Northern Gaming.
Oh, exactly like you said, it nullified their aggression. They were coming through, trying to set up a play and do the same thing that was done to them just a little bit ago, where Marky barely missed that shot. But you see it come through, and he just completely stops all possession contained in that pass play that was trying to be established.
Marky going to try and go for the setup. Using the wall, usually those don't work out, but the pressure is still on. And Remco forced to save, as Flipside Tactics unwilling to settle for a 3-goal lead. They know this is a long series, and they realize that the mental game is just a part of this as anything else, and making a statement in that first game is really important, and Northern Gaming looked shaky in defense.
Sending that mental game on the other side of the field, you talked about it there, and this is what they're doing. They're punishing these players. They're demoralizing them, and shots and plays like that need to be saved. We talk about how, I mean, we actually pay attention to saves quite a little because we have expectations that these guys are going to make them. But in situations like that, they get scrutinized so hard because stuff that we, like I said, have expectations for. They need to make those. There's no excuse.
Yep, you don't get complimented if you get it right. You get criticized if you get it wrong. It's an unfair world, but this is an unfair game. As the ball put over the top by Remco, Northern Gaming 4 goals down. As Cooks tries to get a clearance, no touch from him, but Greasy is in support. And here comes Remco, puts that one down over to the side. Maestro might be able to back that one up, but not quite. Mystic should be first, puts that too high, and Remco's got to turn around and try and get a shot. Northern Gaming still looking out of sorts here, not putting anything dangerous together, even down on their opponent's end of the field.
Yeah, you even see, and Remco was trying to make a good decision there as that ball came off the backboard, a little bit higher than he wanted to, so he rotates out and just takes his time trying to get a shot. The issue is the touch comes too late, and then this Flipside team, they aggress hard, they're going to counterattack and get another one almost.
Markey just tried to get a flick over to the side, and that could be turned in. No, just too far over to the side. As Mystic gets that one up high, but Markey not only reads the play, but gets it past the defender.
You know, I was a little worried about Markey coming into this game. He's been pretty quiet the past couple weeks, but shots like this are why he's always going to be respected. He plays it off of a touch, a missed touch that's played inside. First one to get to it, and then he pushes it perfectly, top right corner.
I mean, he pretty much read that one almost. He was jumping before the ball was even played, so to know that that play was coming in, and that is going to be a consolation goal at this moment in time for Northern Gaming.
Yeah, getting one off the kickoff finally, but I think they're part of the plan. It's just he wins that 50-50, and as Greasy's trying to go up and contest, it gets played back across his body. He's not able to get there in time. Consolation goal indeed, like you said.
Well, it's certainly something, and you do need to start somewhere. This game pretty much could be written off at this point.
Well, I mean, the game always starts at the kickoff. You might as well start off there, right? Like, go back to the basics. Win the kickoff, and then try to follow up from there.
Win the kickoff, win the game, or as Cooks says, score goals, give me MVP.
Well, I mean, he's showing why. I mean, look how many goals he already has this game.
He's pretty much just sitting on it. The entirety of Flipside's team pulling out and doing work so far in Game 1. And Northern Gaming will be happy that this is a best of 7.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to get over this one. I mean, when you're down by 5, that's when you start to think about, okay, how much time's left? Is it really realistic to come back against Flipside when they're making shots almost like that? And it's hard to admit, but it also helps with that mental game you talked about, how much of a factor it plays into these guys. They need to start focusing, okay, why is it that we're getting punished so heavily? What do we need to do to come back against it? And a lot of it just has to do with the aggression. Oh my goodness, what a save.
What a save indeed. Flipside's power duo, Greasy and the crossbar coming through to make that save. As Maestro is going to try and get to that one first, but Greasy yet again a part of that play. He's got Markey in support. Remco has to take that one away because they are 1 goal away from the fabled, the infamous Brazil.
Nobody wants to be a part of that.
No one wants to be a part of that. Mystic has to get himself behind, gets enough contact onto it. 12 seconds remain in this game. The ball is going to bounce down, and that is in a dangerous position. Cooks tries to recorrect himself, and there it is, the 7th goal for Flipside Tactics.
I know you guys all at home are super excited for this, but it was actually a really good setup play, that contest in the air. He's trying to clear it off that backboard and get a big clear with it. But the fact that these guys are up so hard means they can go for risky plays. He goes up and contests something he has no right to be there for, but because of that constant pressure, it finally settles back down in front of that net eventually, and Flipside showing why they are touted as the best or the favorites.
Certainly were. The desk were behind them, and so far they have been proven correct. Certainly not Northern Gaming's best showing at the rodeo, but they've got plenty of time to try and work on that, and you're smiling that I've used rodeo. The US is starting to affect me,
I mean, you
dude.
said rodeo, and then Cookster did his wiggle, and like it lined up perfectly.
Oh, fantastic. I love Marky's little avatar right there. He is.
Yeah, I pointed out last series with these guys, just giving some love to... it almost looks like he's channeling his inner Mike Rules, but it's actually wave punk. Like, it's a good mixture of both. But yeah, I mean, we talk about how crazy this transition can happen, and we know Northern Gaming has able to come back from this. We've seen games that are complete blowouts, and that's what makes Rocket League so exciting, is you have a team like Northern Gaming where it's like, okay, we just lost by 6, and they can come back this next match and completely change the rhythm of everything. So the issue is if they don't do that, Flipside's going to look to take advantage, and they're going to keep pressuring like you mentioned. They don't want to lose by or win by just 3 or 4.
No.
They're going to keep going until you can't breathe anymore.
Yeah, Flipside do not like to leave room for comebacks. Northern Gaming,
Right.
I think, yes, the saves look like they're there, but that's a lot of goals against them. The main issue I've seen so far is the fact of these clearances are in front of their own goal. They just go, we're getting the save, but there's no one there to follow up. There's no one there to help out immediately afterwards. And that's costing them right now because Flipside just go, yeah, you saved it. By the way, here's Cooks, here's Marky, here's Greasy. They're also here. They're ready to try and put that one in. The save is not enough.
Right, and the issue is the times that they do actually clear it out. You mentioned, okay, we need to get involved and we need to follow it up and play downfield. But the times they do follow it up and get it downfield, if it's not resulted in a goal, it's simply because, okay, we went for this attempt that was, in all reality, pretty lackluster, and then it gets pushed right back down our throats, back into the other side of the field. So they need to maintain that possession as soon as they do finally get a chance.
Well, let's hope the refresh button has been pressed by Northern Gaming as they come into game number 2. Hopefully revitalized and ready to go as Remco gets that one down. Over to Maestro. Maestro almost put Northern Gaming off to the perfect start. Ball up high. Marky Dudar's going to get contact. He's trying to dribble this one. Maestro's got that one covered. Cooks has to deal with that. Puts that one up high. So Remco is going to just keep that pressure on. Northern Gaming so good at constricting their opponents into that final third. Marky has to deal with that and gets the block onto Maestro, eventually going away. And Northern Gaming looking much better straight from the off, though.
That's what they need to do. Like you said, constricting. They were the originators of using that backboard so very well. With the loss of Greasy, Mystic has been trying to step up, and you saw it in his first series of the day. He really has. He's getting involved with this team and applying this constant pressure. The issue is they need to be the ones that are forcing this Flipside team on their back heel, because if they don't, we saw what happened in the first match.
Ball played over to the side from Marky over to Greasy. Mystic gets that one up high. Maestro's got to try and win that one first, and he has done so, so allowing Northern Gaming to put some pressure on, but no follow-up, as the rotation was more defensively focused. Greasy, long clearance from him, only over to Northern Gaming yet again. Those long clearances will not normally result in anything offensive, but a good block there from Marky Dudar. Requires Remco to keep that pressure onto the other side. Now Cooks, nice block from him. As both these teams just trying to find a way through. We're seeing a couple of uncharacteristic whiffs. Now the ball off the back bar. Cooks against Maestro means Cooks wins. And that could be dangerous. Ball played over the side and a rebound shot from Greasy. Almost finds it in, but there is Marky. Confidently sat in that final third.
The exact same mistake you're talking about. These clears. Yeah, you made the save, but guess who's waiting? Both Greasy and Cooks are sitting there patiently, just waiting for that ball to be saved and right back to him. Yeah, he doesn't get the initial hit, but still more players waiting to put that shot in. These clears need to go to the corners, or they got to be played high to give themselves some time.
Well, that's how confident Flipside is at the moment. Not only having players up, but no one was at the back there. Both Marky and Cooks were sat there waiting for the rebound, seeing who could get the goal. No real thought process was being put into defense, and Northern Gaming are not punishing it.
No, not at all, and that's the issue, is when you don't punish this team, they're going to punish you. We see what they're capable of. Even Marky with that soft touch, he plays it perfectly. He gets up, rotates his car, and then just plays it around that last defender off the backboard because he knows that follow-up and the confidence in his team is going to be there.
Ball launched up high. That is actually going to be dangerous, and the roof has come into play.
It's so difficult predicting those. You see Greasy takes a chip up and gets some power on it, but it comes up and it barely touches that roof. It's perfect, just enough to play back down and not hit that crossbar, and it's difficult. These players on this Northern Gaming team are leaving it to chance, and when you play a team like Flipside, you can't leave it to chance. You just have to assume they are going to put everything on net.
Northern Gaming 2 goals down in a game that could see them go 2 wins down in this series. The ball played up high. Mystic trying to look for that pass over to Remco. Great play here, but Cooks easily saves that one. Only over to Maestro, though, who's going to look for a double touch. Ends up backing off because he's got Mystic there, and that shot is not dangerous. It's not on target. Ball over into the side of the field. Remco using the wall hit. And we see Marky and Greasy roughly in the same position, but Marky the only player to commit to that ball. And here comes Cooks. Over to Marky. Marky going to try and follow it. No, both him and Cooks coming together. And we've seen this duo play together for so long, potentially the longest standing duo, but it's not going to matter when Mystic can block you like that.
That's exactly what Northern Gaming needs to do. You see this pass play developing for Flipside down that wall. One after another, they're maintaining the possession really well. They defend it, they push it back downfield, and then capitalize on a mistake. That ball played in front of the middle of the net. You have a player waiting, he contests it and puts it in the net themselves. But now they're only down by 1 with 2 minutes left. There's still plenty of time.
Oh, we're going to see the attempted fake kickoff. Not quite getting the intended result of a goal, but the pressure is now on.
Good job noticing that as well. It's something that these guys do so well as a placeholder. They bait that kickoff out so it goes back to their last player. It allows them to chip up and usually plays it to the side where there's a player waiting with full boost so he can take a shot on net. That third man that hasn't been mentioned then usually sweeps in for the follow-up. It's something they do time and time again.
Well, according to players like Doomsy, there is a way to read that because Flipside usually commit to the cheat or cheating up to try and get hold of the ball, but if you see a player just going for the boost and another one in net, you know they're going for the fake. As the ball played over to the side, Maki Duda clears that one away. Now Greasy with his attempt puts that one up into the net, and Northern Gaming are looking at 2-goal difference yet again.
Difficult situation to be in as Mystic as that ball comes down. You see Marky trying to go for their touch again, but then as soon as that ball lands, Greasy just puts some power on that shot. As it's moving upwards, he then takes and jumps into it to make sure that it's moving up as well with the power of his ball, putting a bunch of power on the ball itself. The issue is Mystic has to make a decision. Do I go up for the save or do I contest the 50-50? His positioning there was not good. He didn't have the ability to do either.
Cook's going to try and follow that one up, but Maestro puts that pressure on, and there is still time for Northern Gaming to get themselves back into this, but they need to find a break, and that is an open wall until it gets shut down.
Save from Cookser yet again, but look at this mechanical, like, Mystic is trying to do whatever he can to play this out, and the way that he feathers it around and bounces the ball perfectly on his card to make sure he gets that short angle.
Oh, a bump from Maestro is going to take out the defender, and Northern Gaming short in the lead yet again.
Capitalizing on mistakes, he brings it down and transitions it, like I said, from Mystic. But then the follow-up after, that bump, and then you see him go up, and he just, that one miss, it causes all this confusion on that defense, and then they slam it in. 37 seconds left, and I'm going to try to learn how to talk.
Oh, don't worry, I'm not very good at that at all, and I have to try and speak at speed. But talking about speed, there is not much time, and Northern Gaming need a goal quick. That's a good pass over to Mill, but no one there to turn it in. It's going to allow Cooks and Greasy to combine together to get rid of the ball. Mystic tries to put them on a high. Cooks has got a shot to target, and yet again, Northern Gaming can't quite put it together, and they are punished.
We cannot say his name enough. Cooks there, this ball gets cleared in the middle again. They need to play these to the sides because this team is spread out so well. They cover every facet of the field. And then when he takes this shot, he just gets up so early. He sees it coming. He's read this from the back line. And then nobody in defense to make sure. But in the first place, why is Mystic putting it in the middle of the field? If no one's pressuring you, keep it on the ground, dribble it upfield a little bit.
It is certainly a very dangerous play to make. Greasy puts that one up high, but another goal here will not mean anything other than style points. Maestro puts it on the floor. And now 2-0 in games to Flipside Tactics.
Like you said early at that halftime, Flipside looking like they can take number 2, and they're showing exactly why. They're capitalizing on these mistakes. And a lot of it, like you said, has to do with this defense. They're playing it in the middle of the field way too much.
Yeah, we're seeing pretty even there, actually, on shots. Northern Gaming with the majority. But it's, as we said in the last game, that defense does not look as solid as we have seen it even today.
Right.
And that is hurting them more than we can actually put into words.
Right, and you're starting to see, like I mentioned, how I wanted to see Marky kind of step up. He's definitely done that. He's making a ton of saves. He's helping out with the shots. Even though he's usually the guy that scores most of the goals, you can tell Cookser's really starting to take that, almost like we see in the NA side with Fireburner starting to move up as that last man. But on the other side with Northern Gaming, Mystic has been trying to help out, and it's definitely helping. They're applying a little bit more pressure, but then someone needs to help them back on that defensive side as well, and nobody's really done it.
Yeah, it's certainly been that thing. We've mentioned it a couple of times today. You cannot defeat these teams. You cannot get the ball out of your half with just one touch. You usually have to try and put 2 touches together, go for a dribble, go for a team play, get someone to go for the save, and then someone to clear. You need to do something more than just hit it really hard.
Right.
Because hit it really hard does not work at this level.
No, it just throws away your possession. Like, the benefit of being able to settle the ball on your side of the field, rather than just forcing a hit and pushing it to the other side, all they're going to do is be like, okay, we got the ball back, now what do we want to set up and make a play as? Obviously, there's ways to make a quick counterattack on it, but when nobody's following up that hit in the first place because they're already dealing with the aggression of this team of Flipside, you're literally just giving them another chance on net.
So Northern Gaming are running out of time to find the answer to Flipside. 2 games down,
good luck.
and if they lose, yeah, exactly. Both these teams very difficult to figure out, and it doesn't quite seem like Northern Gaming have played their game yet. And once we see that out of them, we'll see a real good series on our hand. But Northern Gaming not playing up to the standards we've set for them, and they've set for themselves. So the ball played over to the middle. Nice save there from Maestro. And Remco going to try and follow that one up. Nice pass over to the side. That's going to be open, and Cooks looks at it for a little while and says, oh, okay, yeah, I'll definitely have that. As Mystic over into the corner, trying to put some pressure on. He's got Maestro in support, but immediately taken away by Marky. Marky over to Mill, over to Cooks. He's just going to try and set this one up for Marky. Those two combining together really well. As Northern Gaming are going to go and try and play out of their half. This is somewhere where they've had difficulties so far in this series. As it's going to be Cooks here versus Remco. Remco might actually be out of position. The ball played out. It's a very far pass using the backboard, but not quite turned in by Greasy. Now Mystic versus Marky and Greasy. Almost seems unfair to try and beat that.
Yeah, it's difficult too, and I like what he tried to do there. He took the time to try to get the best angle and put a shot on net. The difficulty with that is if you take too much time, the defense is going to rotate back, and that's exactly what we saw. He beat the one player initially, but then that rotation on defense came through, and they were able to make a save.
Well, that's going to bounce down off the roof yet again. The roof has not been kind to Northern Gaming so far, and that's an easy setup there for Marky Duda.
It's very difficult as well. We talk about those backboard passes and off that top. Very difficult, because when that ball's right above you with that camera, it's so difficult to read, and it catches these guys off account of basically what they're trying to do to make a save. They need to come from the side or do something to get up, but the issue is when it gets played on that, it's just sometimes it just drops straight down, and it's too late.
Maestro clears that one away. He's got Mystic to try and follow that one up. That's been put up high. Maestro's going to try and take that one. Ends up missing the ball, but there's Remco. Puts that one down, and there we are. Tight game.
That's exactly what they need to do. This pinch coming up from Mystic. It plays out off that wall, and not only does it play off that wall, but it bounces out farther off that wall. It plays a little bit closer to this team. Obviously, there's 2 players back on defense. Someone needs to go up and contest it, but the way that is played, he immediately aggresses it and takes that chance, hoping that his teammate, Mystic, rotates back on defense immediately, because if he doesn't, then again, it's a very risky play. There's nobody back on defense.
Ball played off the back wall, but Mystic's going to take control of this. Plays it a little bit too heavily, though. And that is going to be given over to Greasy. Now Remco, with his opportunity, beat to it by Cooks. As Maestro's going to try and get it all right. Greasy Meister puts that one up high. Cooks here is going to try and get to that ball. He's tapped that one down. No defenders left. And that is the easiest goal of Greasy's career.
They're forcing these guys to make plays. Maestro misses that 50-50, which helps out Greasy. But as soon as he chips that up high, these guys noticed, okay, we had an issue with this last time. I'm not going to risk it this time. They both go up, but the issue is they both miss. Yes. Cookser puts a beautiful pass just nice and light back down, and he's got a wide open net with nobody in front of him.
Greasy with a clear Cobra, Cooks and Maestro both going to the same ball, coming roughly even on that. And there's Greasy, great save there from Mystic, not allowing his team to go down by 2 goals. Just getting in the way. Now Cooks finding Marky. Marky's going to look for Cooks. Cooks puts that in. It's good team play, but it's not onto target. The setup was good. The finish was not there.
So very close, but you see the decision making with these passes. They're not going for the generic, okay, as soon as you beat it past one defender, put it on net. They're using the walls. Their misdirection is unbelievable.
Good pass there from Greasy, but just too high over. Now Mystic needs to try and find a way out. Nice block there. As now Maestro has to try and get it past Marky. Marky has been beat. And Greasy over to Cooks. Backflip for Cooks here, choosing not to just try and get any sort of random touch. And moving back. Remco and Mystic going to try and combine together as Maestro sat there in support, just wanting to get that one over to the corner. So now they have room to work in. And there is the Demolish taking out that threat. And Remco has to try and fill in the gap. Still more Northern Gaming pressure coming through. No one there to try and take that from Greasy, who's going to try and take that most of the way down the pitch before being tackled. Marky, long clearance from him. Over to Remco. And Greasy's going to be the first one onto that. And these are turning into quite far-fetched plays. None of these are going to break the defense on either team.
No, as it doesn't break the defense on the other team, you see Remco's just trying to be a nuisance. You saw the demo that you called out, and it stops that rotation. They're just trying to mix it up a little bit. It keeps them within 1, but the pressure immediately comes back. They need to find a way to maintain that possession and try to get a couple shots off of that position that they're gaining on offense. because as soon as they drop it, Flipside comes back, they attack, and then they're put it back on defense, and that's not where they want to be.
Off the backboard, Maestro has to get contact because Greasy was waiting, using the side wall. Now Mystic just up. 48 seconds left to play for Northern Gaming to find themselves a goal. 2 players up for that one. Maestro is going to try and beat Cooks, but Cooks wins that one out. As Marquis shot off the side, and it's just been turned into defender. Didn't quite reach it.
Just countless mistakes, one after another. You saw these two go up for the same one, and because of that, they were both pretty low on boost. They do a good job of communicating, and okay, the back guy says, all right, I got it. He takes the hit, but the issue is as soon as that played up, he gets up and tries to make a save, but the angle, it comes off, bounces off the back side of him, and goes right back in the net. Just this pressure from Flipside, one after another.
Certainly not been answered so far in this series. As Remco with the clearance away. Greasy looking to try and set up for yet another goal. But Mystic just with a clear into the middle, forcing Maestro to get a touch because that could have been a pass. Over to one of his opposing players. As Remco gets that one down. Greasy flicks that one up. Marquis was just over in the corner, I think waiting for boost almost. Just stole his opponent's boost, and that is going to be game 3 for Flipside Tactics. Northern Gaming really needs to come through here.
Yeah, I mean, they're on match point for Flipside Tactics, but in defense, Northern Gaming is starting to climb a little bit back. First game, they were down by 6. Second game, they were down by 2. This game, they're down by 2 as well, so they're starting to maintain it a little bit more, but still, it's just this pressure and this panicky play from Northern Gaming.
It really has looked difficult at times. They don't look like the Northern Gaming that we're used to seeing. The Northern Gaming that is good at putting together multiple plays, getting multiple people to touch the ball to get it around, but we're seeing there only 2 shots coming out. They've barely spent any time in that Flipside half throughout the entirety of that game. We are going to be heading on to Utopia Coliseum next, where we hope that they are going to be able to turn around their fortunes, because Northern Gaming not really showing up to this series so far.
We talk about needing to make adaptations, and maybe they just need to change the scenery. This beautiful map, maybe they got the sun shining, it's going to brighten their eyes and be like, all right, this is an epiphany moment of what we need to do. And as of honesty, like, they're just getting beaten in every facet of this game. They're being forced to make plays. And that's what Flipside wants you to do. They want you to bring it upfield in a pressured way, just so they can spread out the field, contest it, and then you see those beautiful pass plays that are coming out from Marquis and Cooks. Just misdirection. They're not going directly towards the net either. Like, it's so difficult and so predictable, and these guys are changing it up so well. Like, normally when you get a pass play, you beat past that one defender, you put a quick shot on net. These guys aren't doing that. They're passing it to the right off the wall and then back in to draw out another one. So really good decision making and really difficult place to save.
Yes, and we really don't want to try and take away from how good Flipside have been playing so far. Flipside have been playing very good. It's just Northern Gaming playing beneath what we expect of them. Because Northern Gaming, for as good as Flipside are today, can usually keep up at that pace, and can usually keep up that pace very well.
Right, maybe they're just trying to give us this hype of a reverse sweep that we always want. I mean, obviously we talk Flipside's on match point. This is pretty much a $3,500 match. They win, they get 10 Gs, they lose, they got to keep fighting. Second place takes $6,500. So obviously a lot of money on the line. Plus you get to know who you're playing on the other side of the spectrum. You're playing against NA, back and forth between these two teams. Okay, who is it up against? We don't know, but if we win this, we do.
Yes, certainly the winner of this series will be playing Take 3 at the LAN Finals, which has been considered by some to be the weakest of the 4 teams going from NA. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons to want to try and get a hold of this final spot as #1 in EU. But right now, this hasn't been the series that I thought would have been the one to crown it all.
No, Northern Gaming's just been kind of looking lackluster, and it's, like you said, it's surprising us. I mean, statistically speaking, and they did take first with that tiebreaker. I mean, they came out and won 3-0. Like, they are a very strong team. They've only lost 2 games this entire season, but yet every time they play against this team, Flipside, I guess, historically has been the team that just kind of comes out of nowhere and just demolishes people.
Yep, certainly, and one thing you are referencing there is the fact that these guys did play at the very first ever RLCS LAN Finals, where Flipside Tactics did beat them to head themselves into the Grand Finals against what is currently known as G2, who went on to win the whole thing. Now, ball played up over the top. Remco trying to follow this one over to the side. There's going to be a shot from Greasy, going to be played off the backboard. Here comes Cooks, tries to get that one down, but doesn't get the contact he wants. As Marky plays that one over to Cooks. Cooks gets a tap, but it's going to be easily gobbled up by the Remco defense. Now Mystic with his attempt to try and put something together, but Marky Duda cuts that one out. Now it's been set up. Marky Duda, he's got a shot to target. That was not the contact needed.
No, not the contact needed at all, but you see this play down in the middle. Maestro just tries to clear it a little bit higher and to the side, but because it hits him a little bit more parallel, it just goes straight up, and then the ensuing Marky, who's the one who took that hit in the first place, is able to just keep carrying through his momentum and then puts a shot on an open net, but the placement still very difficult to reach, not taking any risks.
Getting that ball up high, Greasy, he's got that one set up, and Marky tries to take that one away from the pursuing Maestro, and that is going to be 2-0 in what could be game point for Flipside.
Flipside looking so dangerous, one after another. You can tell they're in the heads of this team, almost demoralized, and they're just beating them to everything. They're so quick to the ball, and this Northern Gaming team needs to do something. Go for a demo, just change it up. You literally have to win, otherwise you're done.
Well, going back to what we were saying earlier about Flipside being so good at spreading themselves out, that's certainly something they've done so far. They look very comfortable in this. They've been spreading out their team almost in the perfect position to deal with any attempted clears. As Marky gets that block onto Maestro. Here comes the attempts. Greasy Meister tries to go for the setup, but it's just putting pressure on, forcing two players to work together to get rid of that ball. There comes Mystic just over the top. Marky puts that one onto target. 3 goals
Greasy.
And the steal from Greasy.
Greasy going with that goal secured, more like it. You see Mystic forced to play this across midfield yet again, and his team is trying to move forward and create offensive pressure with him. The issue is as soon as it's getting contested, that team's already upfield. There's nobody back in net, and he's got a wide open shot. So much to the fact that Greasy's able to jump in front of the goal and try to steal it for him, and he gets it.
Cooks plays that one down. Here comes Mystic. Northern Gaming need a reversal in fortunes, and they need a very lopsided one as well, because they are 3 goals down. That is a heck of a mountain to climb. Although lucky for them, they've got 3 minutes and 20 seconds to do it. As Marky takes control of the ball. Ball played up high. Here comes Greasy. First one onto that, looking just to try and put some pressure on. As Cooks puts that one off the sidewall. Here comes Flipside, trying to put in 4. It should be Remco's as he taps that one over into the Flipside half, putting some pressure on. Greasy just taps that one over into the corner though. Here comes Northern Gaming in their first attempt to really try and constrict the Flipside team into their own half, but it was broken down pretty quickly. Maestro up after the touch from Mystic, over into the corner. Should be taken away by Flipside. No one on Northern Gaming. They're just clearing it away, and no one's onto this. Finally, someone onto the end of a pass. No contact there from Maestro, but that was at least a little bit better, looking for each other and finding a way through.
Right, exactly what they need to do. They need to look for each other and do stuff with purpose, have intent behind these passes. Because as of right now, we talk about how it's ping pong back and forth. It's only because they're just giving away possession one after another. And that's an issue. When you're giving this possession back, look how much time has been wasted since that last goal. Yeah, you're keeping it consistent, but that's exactly what Flipside wants.
Oh, Remco almost caught that with the side of his car. That could have turned that into his own net, but it just ends up hitting the post. That's been left for a long time by the Northern Gaming boys. Marky Duda just staring a hole for him. Great pass there from Greasy over to Cooks. Now there's going to be 3 players versus 1, but Maestro ends up winning that one out after no serious shot comes towards him.
Well, so much for this aggression coming out as well, because Greasy completely stops. They had 2 players ready to make a play up that field, but he demos one and completely stops rotation. They got to get back on defense and try to set up again. With 1:40 left, they've got a very difficult chance of coming back.
And Flipside doing a very good job of not allowing any space. This might be Northern Gaming's best chance, but taken away pretty quickly. Here comes Northern Gaming, though, refusing to let it out of that half. 1 minute, 27 seconds to score themselves 3 goals, and that's just to get it over into overtime. As Mystic with the long clearance, but that's going to be easily taken up by Greasy, as Mystic ends up colliding with him afterwards. Here comes Marky, just takes it past 1, but Maestro sat in the back, ball was loose enough for him to take up, but still that time is ticking away, and Northern Gaming still struggling to put anything together. 2 players too close there. The attempt of pass was there, but it was never really going to achieve anything, and they're still trying to find a way through.
With 55 seconds left on match point, Flipside looking to be that #1 seed. But you see this pressure coming through. Northern Gaming finally starting to apply some pressure as they're just getting unbelievably aggressive. They go to midfield, collect boost, and then put it all back in, one after another.
Mystic going to try and tap that one down, ends up getting saved before any Serious shot can come through. Here comes Remco over to Mystic, and there is one with 30 seconds left in this match.
Still plenty of time available. It's a great thing about Rocket League that absolutely crazy things can happen in a matter of seconds. We've seen 1-second goals off of kickoffs. Plus, after that time runs out, there's still a chance if they keep it in the air. They need to score quick, though. They need to keep carrying this momentum.
Have Northern Gaming waited till the last possible second to bring themselves back into this. Remco has actually found Maestro. It's just over the top. Remco, can he turn it in? He's not quite done it. Quixer is going to clear that one away. What an opportunity for Northern Gaming to turn this into a real match.
Oh, no!
Oh, it's going to be just down the goal line. Remco has stopped moving entirely, and Cooks turns that one in.
Sometimes you just accept defeat, but that's something that you can't do in a situation like this. That shot was so very perfect, hitting that bar down and then bouncing. And it's difficult to read because if you just take the slightest wrong touch, it's going to be an own goal. That's part of the reason why he maybe stood still. He just didn't want to make the mistake and make it even worse.
Just stand still and throw up the help sign. But it has not come through, and this is going to be a victory for Flipside Tactics. Ladies and gentlemen, your EU regional champions, Flipside Tactics.
Yeah, showing why they are the #1 seed in your regional championships for Europe. Coming through strong in dominating fashion. These guys are looking to put a statement on and telling everybody in North America, watch out, we are coming.
Certainly has been a great series from them. We certainly have expressed our opinions about this, but our opinions aren't important. Do you know whose opinions are important, though?
Not Gibbs.
Not Gibbs. Axel Toss, over to you.
Thank you, Shogun and Lawler, and I think Lawler made a great point. That was certainly a statement there from Flipside Tactics. A clean, smooth sweep over Northern Gaming. We certainly didn't expect that, but let's take a look at the highlights from that match as we watch again as Flipside does what Flipside does.
In Northern Gaming, they pulled a Flipside cameraman just falling right off the grand stage it was not pretty. Not pretty.
It was scary. But Flipside representing their org with pride by just absolutely demolishing Northern Gaming in this series. You saw it from the very beginning. Just every member of Flipside contributing to this win. Cookser, I thought, had some phenomenal blocks that set up goals. He was setting plays up. Greasy in the first game scoring 4 goals and then just going off 8 games in the entirety of the series, especially with the one cheeky steal against Marky Duda. But really, Flipside was just in every category better.
And Flipside got their Brazil back. They were the only ones to get Brazil this entire season by Reunited. They get it back here in game #1. That was a huge statement. And Northern just never looked like they were in this at all. Lots of defensive mistakes by all 3 players. It wasn't one of them. It was all 3 just panicking, trying to get the clear out, and it would just be a center right back to either Greasy or Cooks usually. And it just looked really bad for them.
Now, the next competition we're going to see, of course, will be Amsterdam, and Northern Gaming coming in and going 0-4 against Flipside. Is this reason to be concerned for them? What kind of adjustments do we need to see?
We lost 7 in a row now to them in the RLCS from week 4. They went 0-3, and now they went 0-4 here. They're just going to be happy that they're on the other side of the bracket from Flipside. I think they're just going to be like, all right, maybe Flipside has our number right now. We're going to focus on everyone else, and hopefully when we get that rematch, maybe magic can happen and we can get that win. But they just have to fix a lot of defensive mistakes. But today was not their usual selves. Maybe they can go hey, look, it was an off day. Let's bounce back.
Well, normally Remco rarely ever misses, especially Maestro. On any aerial opportunities, we saw early on, he had a very good aerial opportunity. It was a pretty basic aerial, and he came up and he just completely missed it. So it just seemed like Northern Gaming was just struggling to play the way that they usually do. Remco and Maestro only put up 1 goal in this entire series for both of them. And their average coming into this series, they averaged a goal a game. So to only score 1 goal, it's just they severely underperformed. Mystic, he at least was able to put some points on the board, getting something going for him, but he also had some defensive mistakes. It was just Northern Gaming all around. Just they did not look polished whatsoever. But again, we have a clear 1-2 spot in Europe after today. Flipside clearly that #1 team. And Northern Gaming, they took out Mocket, got that win, and then Mocket with their 4-0, showing that they deserve that spot, and maybe even hoping for that rematch against Northern Gaming to prove who's #2.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket from today as we saw A bunch of awesome games there, especially in the beginning. Northern Gaming versus Macades is definitely one to go back and watch 4-3. And there you see how it all played out. Precision Z knocked out in 4th place. Macades is winning that 3rd, 4th place match 4-0. Honestly, there you go. 2 sweeps in our final 2 matches.
We thought we had a big 3. It looks like there's just one team right now. Flipside
The big one.
just dominated. Northern and Macade are 2nd and 3rd really close, and then there's a big gap again with Precision Z. So it seems like Flipside is going to be the heavy favorites coming into the LAN for Europe and probably for the entire tournament. And we'll see if they can prove it, because last time they got bounced out round 1, but then they battled all the way back to the finals. So we'll see if they can clean up that round 1.
Now, we're about to reveal the bracket for Amsterdam, but before we do that, we have the North America Regional Championship bracket. Of course, these are the matches that happened yesterday. We saw NRG win in the finals there against Orbit 4-2.
Yeah, and the big story here was NRG defending their championship title. They won the Season 1 Qualifier 2 online final. They took it all down against the same team, Orbit, and they did it again this weekend, securing their spot as #1 in North America.
Finally, let's do it. Here is your bracket for the grand finals for the Rocket League Championship Series. $50,000 for first place. This is how it'll look like for Amsterdam.
The game that I'm looking at is the rematch of Orbit versus Macade from the last LAN. They played in round 1, and Orbit surprised everyone with a pretty convincing win over Macade. We'll see if Macade can bounce back, but that's going to be a coin flip series because both those teams are looking really good.
And Orbit arguably looking even better than they did coming into it, but the one I'm really excited about is a rematch from the first live final as well, which was Genesis and Northern Gaming. Genesis, they had the roster change, replacing Quinn Lobdell with Classics, and they finished 3rd this time, which was an improvement over the last 2 qualifiers that they had, where they finished 4th. And Genesis, getting back to the LAN, they have a big road ahead of them in Northern Gaming. But we saw that Northern Gaming isn't invincible, with Flipside taking this 4-0, just shellacking of Northern Gaming.
And something to keep in mind, double elimination will be that bracket. But yes, Amsterdam, ladies and gentlemen, get ready. The grand finals are coming up December 3rd and 4th. I'm super excited for this. I know the entire Rocket League community is excited for this. We know the teams, we know the bracket. All that's left to do is twiddle our thumbs while we wait for that wonderful weekend.
Yeah, just 3 weekends away, so these teams are going to have to get a lot of practice in a short amount of time, because obviously they're flying out a little bit early as well. So that they're going to, like a lot of these teams that had disappointing performances today, really have to go back to the drawing board and try and figure some stuff out.
And a lot on the line for these teams. A lot like Macade, who came in expected to potentially be a favorite to take it all. They went out in essentially last place. And then the same thing for NRG, another situation where we thought they were North America's best hope, and they went out again in that 7-8 spot. So we'll see going into this live event, especially with the new faces, Precision Z and Take 3, how are they going to perform in this environment where now you're going up against teams who have all this LAN tournament experience on the biggest stage possible. It's going to be awesome to watch, and I have like my phone doing a countdown right now until Amsterdam.
Everyone should have a countdown running. It is going to be an epic grand final in Amsterdam. Book your tickets, write it down, get your calendar out. I don't care what you have to do, but it's going to be a ton of fun as we watch the top teams in the world in a live environment compete for that prize of $50,000 and title of world champion. That is going to do it for our broadcast here today. Thank you so much for watching. Over the weekend, as we cover the North America and Europe regional championships, congratulations to NRG for taking home $10,000 in the title of North American regional champion, and Europe's Flipside Tactics for taking home the crown there. Next up, we're in Amsterdam, so stay tuned to the Rocket League Championship Series as the season concludes in the form of the Grand Finals December 3rd. See you then.